Any public comment? Okay, I'll now close the public hearing, and I'll ask the applicant's representative to come forward. Good evening, Mr. Proctor.
Good evening, Mayor. 57th Avenue.
Thank you.
We like the staff recommendation. This matter was filed several years ago, so it was filed in advance of your moratorium. It is less than a 7,500 square foot lot, but it is a grandfathered lot, and as Mr. Corradino explained, this is an application really of an underdevelopment, a development in a multifamily area of a single-family home. Thank you. The property is at 846 Northeast 5th Avenue, and as Mr. Corradino also mentioned, there is a multifamily use, a 4-unit building directly to our south. In the picture that's on the screen, I hope you'll be able to see that the 4-unit apartment building to the south, also the proximity to Campbell Drive and to the busway. My client has owned this property for about 5 years. He wishes to develop a 1-story single-family home, and we would ask for your support and be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Proctor. Questions or comments from council? We have a motion to approve. Moved by Councilman Cannonball, seconded by Councilman Davis. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Proctor.
Thank you and good evening.
All right. Mr. White, second reading on tab 12.
Tab 11.
Tab 11.
Tab 11 is resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. for the development of a new residential subdivision totaling 74 single-family dwelling units on an approximately 37-acre parcel of land, generally located at the northwest corner of Southwest 304th Street and Southwest 192nd Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Hi, good evening.
Hello,
Welcome.
good evening, Mayor, Council. It's great to be before you today. Maritza Haro, office at 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. We're here on the final step for the Aspen Estates subdivision, the final plat. I have a brief presentation, but you're all familiar with the project. This is really just the last step in before final approval. So this is the site. It's 37 acres. It was approved last year with 74 luxury estate homes. On the screen, you'll see that's the tentative plat that was also approved last year. And before you this evening is the final plat, which is consistent both with the approved site plan and the approved tentative plat. Has 74 lots and 2 tracks for private roads and the mail kiosk as required by USPS. And that's it. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any final questions from council? I know this is just for the public, mostly an administrative process. This project was approved long ago. All right, this moved by Councilman Cannonball, seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Before we have a roll call vote, is there any public comment? Hearing or seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. All right.
Testing 1, 2. Wow.
Welcome to WebEx. Press 1 to be connected to your meeting.
Are we ready? Clerk's office, are we ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead Local Planning Agency meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and it is now 5:30 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Board Member Bailey? Here. Board Member Avila? Here. Board Member Cannibal? Here. Board Member Ross? Here. Board Member Davis?
Here.
Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Here.
Chairman Losner?
Here.
Lawrence Ventura ex officio?
Okay. Do we have any additions, deletions, or deferrals for this agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none. All right, we have tab 1, the approval of our October 16th, 2024 local planning agency minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Board Member Roth, seconded by Board Member Cannibal. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Mr. White, public hearings.
There are no quasi-judicial items this evening, so we just skip right into legislative matters under tab 6. I'm sorry,
2.
item 6, tab 2.
Tab 2, okay. All right, this is car number 4489, public hearing number 2024-51, a flume amendment from medium density residential use to light commercial use. Mr. Pearl.
This will be an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map designation as requested by FVPP LLC of an approximate 0.75 acre parcel of land from medium residential use to light commercial use for property located at 1351 North Chrome Avenue, as identified in Miami-Dade County Folio number 10-7907-022-0130 and legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Let's go ahead and have the staff report for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council and the board. This is Derek Cook with the New Development Services Director. Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to serve the community. Thank the city manager and the assistant city manager in their faith, and I hope to serve well in this capacity. As stated, the item before you is a land use amendment. The current land use is zoned medium density residential. The applicant is seeking a land use change to light commercial use. The current use on the property is adult living facility, and the use based on the land use, the amendment is incompatible with the land use, so they are seeking a change to make the land use amendment consistent with the actual use that's going on, and that the land use amendment is consistent with the zoning that is at the site today. So as stated by the city attorney, the item before you is just a simple change in that capacity as stated by staff. If you want me to go into any further details on the matter, as you understand it, the property as a whole is about 2.6 acres. The property in question for the land use is approximately 0.76 acres that they are looking at changing the land use amendment for that section of the property.
Good, thank you. Typically, at the local planning agency level, we go into the details at the full council hearing rather than here, unless we have a room full of torches and pitchforks who are interested in the item. Are there any questions from council? Okay. Entertain a motion to move this to the council agenda. Moved by Board Member Bailey.
Second.
second by Board Member Davis. There are no further comments. I think we need a roll call on this.
Board Member Cannavale? Board Member Ross? Yes. Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Bailey? Board Member Avila? Yes. Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman
Vice
Losner?
Chairman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. Do we have anyone present or online who would like to make a public comment with respect to development issues? General comments can be made at the council meeting. Any further business from Development Services? And welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, anything further? Very good. So before I adjourn, are we permitted to roll into the next meeting, or is that a time certain of 6 o'clock? It doesn't indicate upon the conclusion of the prior meeting on the council
No.
items we have.
The agenda that I have says it starts at 6 p.m., not
Okay.
immediately following.
Very good. All right. So with that, this is the cautionary note that we will open the regular council meeting at 6 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Moved by Board Member Avila, seconded by Board Member Countable. All in favor? Any opposed? This local planning agency meeting is adjourned. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and it is now 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
May we have to do the invocation?
Oh,
and
I'm
the
sorry.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Got ahead of myself. New year. All right. So this evening, the invocation will be by Reverend Howard Harden, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Homestead, followed by Pledge of Allegiance with myself and the Police Explorers. Please rise, everyone.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we pause to acknowledge how good you have been to this city, this state, and to this nation. We thank you particularly for what was a peaceful transfer of power this week, a blessing not enjoyed in every country. We thank you also for our mayor, our vice mayor, this entire council, for all of our public servants gathered here today. We thank you for the time that they give, for the sacrifices that they make, which are all too often unacknowledged. Oh Lord, help us not to take them for granted. We lift them up to you. We pray that as they carry out tonight's agenda, you would lead them to know it is your will. Help them to work together, even when they disagree. Use them as tools in your hand to bring peace and prosperity to the city, and may they be keenly aware of their dependence upon you at every moment. Oh God, there are real challenges that are before us, and yet it comforts us to know that you are bigger and greater than them all. Help us, we pray, and I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please join with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arm. Left, faith. Forward, march. Left, right. Thank you. Please be seated. Now let's have a roll call.
Councilman Cannavale? Here. Councilman Roth?
Here.
Councilman Davis?
Here.
Councilwoman Avila?
Here.
Councilwoman Bailey? Here. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Here.
Mayor Lawson?
Here. All right, very good. All right, this is now the public comment portion of the agenda. I have up to 3 minutes to speak on any issue you'd like to speak on. I'll first call upon those who have pre-registered. The first person tonight is Derek Lester. Mr. Lester, are you with us? Please come down the podium, if you would, and give us your name and address for the record, and at a 3-minute limit. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and City of Homestead. My name is Derek Lester, 26725 Southwest 134th, Homestead, Florida. Actually, I wanted to just share some information about we have a program here that serves the South Dade community. We do a lot of work here in our community with our youth. This coming February, we're going to be taking about 50 kids to Atlanta, Georgia, to be a part of a college tour, as well as a Black History tour where they would get a chance to see the great Martin Luther King Museum. They will also get a chance to see the College Hall of Fame. Also, with this event, event, we're going to be taking 50 kids. Out of the 50 kids, 25 of these kids live here in the Homestead community. The other 25 are from the Florida City community. We have been honored by Mayor Wallace in the Florida City with the obligation of $5,000. Our budget runs at $10,000 for the trip. And we just want to see if the city of Homestead could help us with the bus that we're trying to get. You also have the quote from the bus company for this event. And thank you.
Okay, and just so you know, typically, the city doesn't necessarily have a pot of money to allocate on an as requested and approved basis, but each of the council members have their own discretionary funds. So while we can't, as a body award or direct any money tonight, you've distributed this information to each one of us, and we can be in contact with you, perhaps individually.
Awesome.
So we know those. So I see the total cost of the trip, everything all in is about 10,000.
Correct.
And you've gotten 5 from Florida City.
Correct.
Have you received any other donations? What's your shortfall?
Well, actually, I've got a couple more meetings. I'm waiting. I was just on the phone with District 8, her office, and her assistant's supposed to get back with me, and I'm waiting for District 9 to also get back with me.
Very good.
So, I'm just getting out the information because, we want to make sure we make this trip happen. And one of the reasons we want to make it happen is we strongly believe in keeping our kids involved and keeping them involved around positive different things, because we know that we're dealing with a lot of serious stuff when it comes to teenage boys, especially with the gang members and, losing lives to the gun violence and being around a lot of negativities. So that's why I work extremely hard to put on these trips and raise the money so we can help keep these kids around positive stuff, and hoping that one day they will come back and give to this community.
And your deadline for funding is?
Our deadline for funding is by the middle. The trip is the 21st through the 23rd. We need.
So early mid-February.
Right.
We're almost at early February now. So.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that I've known Mr. Lester here for quite a few years now, not only through Hard Knocks Foundation, but he was also involved in Guns Down and Books Up. So I know that he has done a lot of great things, especially for our youth. So I am getting a line budget tomorrow so that we can see what happened over the holidays. And as soon as I see how much we have left, I'll definitely help you out. I thought you said Florida City donated 7,000.
No, 5,000.
5. Okay, so you are 5 short.
Yeah.
Okay, I will let you know tomorrow. Thank you for all your hard work with our youth.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Yes, Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. And you can reach out to our same assistant when you hear from her office, and I'll be donating $500.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to make a general public comment? Anyone else in the audience? Yes, come on down. We'll recognize the Rodeo Association. 'Tis the season. It's here already.
My name's Matt Goodman with the Homestead Rodeo Association. I want to thank Mayor for allowing us to be here and the council. We couldn't do this without your support, and we realize how much you guys have done for us in this last year especially, but this is our 76th annual, so we've been together for a long time, and we could not do it without you. I want to say a special thanks to the city manager's office. They've been just so helpful with us through this parking process that we've had. It's been a little bit of a challenging year for us, but they've been great. Parks and Rec has been great, and then now we're tying in with the City of Homestead Police, and they've been working so well with us. And we just want to thank you guys for what you do for us, and just enjoy, looking forward to what we'll have in the future with you guys. We have a great rodeo getting ready to happen this weekend, We've got contestants from the National Finals Rodeo, the professional bull riders. We've got a clown act that has just won all 3 clown acts of the year out at the NFR. Our announcer is a multi-time NFR world announcer, and we're just bringing the best that we possibly can to the city of Homestead. It looks like we're on track to have our 3rd year in a row of a sellout crowd. We'll probably be turning people away at the gate again. We're going to have information out on the website for anybody that wants to learn more about it and find out, what's to come. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you, and let me reiterate our commitment to finding a home for this legacy event so that we can do another 76 years and then some. It takes time, but we have not lost sight of that fact. So are these the queen contestants? Have we announced the queen this year yet?
We actually did something a little different this year. We've always done our queens on ticket sales. We still did that as well, but we also introduced a queen pageant. This was our first year actually doing a full pageant judged, and we have a full court of princess, sweetheart, teen, and our queen. So they've shown up here. You guys want to stand?
Love to have you bring them down and introduce them to the city.
We're looking forward for them to, this is a growing experience for them, for our young ladies in the community as well, for them to be able to, get out and speak, learn to present themselves, and we want to help them to grow and be ready to further their career. So,
hello everyone, I'm your 2025 Miss Rodeo Homestead Queen, and my name is Zoe DeVerona.
Welcome.
Good evening, my name is Gabriela Sixto, and I'm your Miss Teen Rodeo Homestead 2025.
Good.
Hi, my name is Kinsley Reeder, and I am 8 years old.
All right. Yeah. If you don't mind, if you want to, y'all come stand here in front of us, and we'll get a photo. Here, let's. Thank you. Very good. All right. Any other general public comments in person? We'll get to you. Okay. Is there anyone online? No one online. All right. So I'm now going to close the public comments section of the agenda and ask the manager if there are any additions, deletions, or deferrals tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At this time, the administration would like to withdraw tab number 6, car item 4484. Tab number 6, number 4484 is being withdrawn.
Okay. Does that require any action, Council?
We can have a motion for the removal and to accept the agenda with it removed.
Moved by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Avila. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So let's quickly do the consent agenda. All right, we have, as our first item, tab 1, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Roth, second by Councilman Davis. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, if there are no objections, I'd like to reshuffle the order of the agenda quickly, and I hope briefly. Jumping to tab 9 with respect to the Rotary Club Seafood Festival item. The members who are present would like to come forward. And while you do that, let's have the staff put this item on the record and give us the recommendation. Mr. Manager?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At this time, we are asking Council to approve the item that we're seeking direction, which is tab 9, for the Homestead Stone Crab and Seafood Festival. The city has participated in this event as a partner for several years. We are actually, at this time, assisting them to get this done in a timely fashion. We have no objection to the request for in-kind services and also the offers of a $1,000 rental fee and $3,000 donation. The administration is full support of the event.
Excellent.
Very good, thank you. Yes, please
Good
introduce
evening,
yourself.
Mayor Hauser. Good evening, Vice Mayor Fletcher. Good evening, Council. My name is Julio Guzman, 973 Northwest 10th Street. Good evening, Mr. Manager.
Thank you.
And I'm here on behalf of Rotary Club along with a fellow Rotarian, Quentin Dobbins. We wanted to say thank you for your collaboration and the continued sponsorship of the Seafood Festival. It has been an extraordinary event, which what I consider a signature event in the city of Homestead now. And we also would like to request the continued support and sponsorship, which you have just confirmed. So a little bit about this event. It draws in over 20,000 people, not only from our local community, but also from other parts of the county and other counties. So we want to continue the support of this event so that we can make it better and bigger than ever before. We're expecting a larger turnout this year. We want to specifically thank Mayor Losner and Councilman Davis for your sponsorship this year. And for those of you that may not have sponsored, feel free to give me a call if you want to make a sponsorship donation to the Seafood Festival. If you have any questions, we're here to answer.
Let's just put on the record, though, I think at least over the last 3 years, primarily as with respect to the financial results of this event in Homestead, the Rotary Club Homestead Foundation has awarded close to 300, maybe a little over $300,000 in scholarships to local high school students to assist them in their college education. That's just the last 3 years.
And the money that's left over goes to other humanitarian organizations throughout the city. So it's a really good event for the city, and it's family fun for everybody in the city of Homestead.
Right, and March 1st and 2nd at the sports complex. Any further questions or comments from council? We have a motion to accept the recommendation of staff. Moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Let's have at it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess protocol demands that we make note that Mr. Guzman is a former vice mayor here at the city of Homestead. Welcome back. All right, let's move on to tab 10. Mr. Manager?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tab number 10, which is car item 4476, is an item about the Old City Hall proposal from the related urban. Staff is seeking direction from Mayor and Council regarding the latest proposal that is actually attached herein. The latest proposal was received by staff on the November 18th of 2024. This item was previously scheduled for hearing on the 14th of December. It was rescheduled for January 14th, and here we are today on January 22nd to have a full discussion on the latest proposal that was received under notice of disposal of property in the CRA, seeking proposal for the redevelopment or rehab of the Old City Hall sites. Related Urban Development Group responded to the solicitation on July 19th, 2021, and the City Council designated the developer as a successful respondent and authorized the negotiation of agreements to memorialize the respondents' offers. The proposed master development and purchase agreement seeks to provide several options, including closing conditions, pre-development obligations, and terms for financing, construction, and operation of the project. The project has several options, which the administration has shared with council several times in the past, a comparison of the development plan provided by the developer between the 2023 draft and the latest draft comprises in the 2023 draft 8-story building with approximately 376 units, distributed with 20% as affordable and 80% as market rates. That also includes about 11,950 square feet of ground retail space and significant public open spaces of approximately 26,000 square feet. In the 2024 draft offer by the related urban group, it comprises of 8-story buildings with 292 units, which is a reduction, distributed as follows: 60 affordable out of the 292, which translates to about 20.5%, 180 as workforce housing, which is about 62%, and 52 at market rates, which is about 17.8%. Both drafts propose 11,765 square feet of retail for a Flanagan restaurant, Big Daddy's liquor store, and public open space. There is a monetary and financial component of the offer, with a purchase price in the 2023 draft of $12.4 million and in the 2024 draft of $14 million, with several conditions for closing and extension of payments, which I will leave for now, and also several community benefits with contingencies. We are asking council for direction at this point with respect to this latest offer. It's also necessary to point out that at the meeting we had sometime in the middle of last year, 2024, council had asked staff to proceed with an environmental assessment of the entire site, which we did, and the results were communicated to the proposer, subsequent which the proposer undertook several environmental testing of the entire site in order to find out the extent and the plume of the environmental contamination at the site. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are available for further question and discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And with council consent, I'd like to hear from the representative from Related Urban Group, and then we'll open the conversation. Mr. Milo, the microphone is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Albert Milo, President, Related Urban. Thank you, Mr. Manager, for kind of outlining the proposal. So let me just touch on a couple of things that I think are important, just to clarify for the record for this council. Obviously, as the manager stated, this process started in July of 21 when we responded to the proposal. It actually started in May of 21 when the proposal was first issued. So in preparing for this meeting, I had the opportunity to go through that, and I've had additional time to think about this transaction and the time and the many times that I've come in front of this council. So before I kind of share my thought process with you, I want to kind of touch on themes that I think are important as far as this redevelopment that were part of our best and final offer. It was a fee simple transaction, which was a request of this board. At the time, as some of you might recall, the initial proposal was a land lease proposal with a revenue share mechanism for the city. Then it changed into a fee simple proposal at the request of the council. That another request that was made of us was to, hey, find a way within the redevelopment of City Place Homestead to see if you can work with Flanagan's. We went out, we met, we secured a deal with Jimmy Flanagan's. That's probably been now about 2 years, probably, give or take, since we've had that. Again, request of the council that we were able to adhere to. Other changes were made. There was a lot of dialogue, with the council as it relates to heights, densities, traffic, what kind of units are going to be built, what type of income we're going to try to serve. So we work through some of those issues. You know, in this current proposal, we lowered our density from about 600 units to 400 and some odd units. So that was a 28% decrease in density. We also, you know, as originally when Councilman Davis joined the council, he had some ideas, you know, as it relates to some of the needs for a state-of-the-art VA clinic in the city of Homestead. There's a lot of veterans that, unfortunately, going as far down as Monroe County and Key West, they don't have an opportunity, or here in South Dade, they don't have an opportunity to get quality services. And when they need to be seen, they need to go to the Civic Center area, right across from Jackson Hospital. We worked through that in our latest proposal. We included that also. There's also, there were some opportunities based on the state legislation that was part of the Live Local Act. There were some resources that the state appropriated, $150 million for 10 years, and a portion of that money was set aside for military housing. I also included that in our proposal. When we reduced our density, we said we would take one of the projects, the first phase, and make that the mixed income phase, but we would take the other phase and make it a military housing phase, knowing that Homestead has a big military presence and it has a big need to house the military, and it would score extremely well at the state level. We included that in our latest offer. We've also, I know Councilwoman Bailey, we talked a lot about the arts. You know, it's been in our proposal for a long time to have a private commitment for ourselves. My partner, Mr. Perez, is the benefactor of the Perez Art Museum in Miami. We talked about bringing a secondary facility like we have in Alapata, El Espacio, bringing one of those facilities here to Homestead, making that a center for Art Basel, when that which is a worldwide event, and having a presence here in South Dade. Unlike there is no other presence, it's Miami Beach, Wynwood, and the center of Miami. We said we're going to commit to that personally. That's part of our proposal. And we talked about the fact that City Place Homestead was never about just one type of development. It was going to be the first Class A, mixed income, more importantly, mixed use, vertical construction development in the city of Homestead. You guys have heard me say before that there needs to be a development that sparks the resurgence of your downtown. No doubt in my mind, that's what we were proposing as part of City Place Homestead, to be that catalyst, to be able to take your downtown and bring some additional and some new economic activity to your downtown. So the manager mentioned, in addition to that, we also embarked on doing the environmental testing, because that's something that we talked about a while back, and we had asked about, hey, we really need to try to get a handle on this, because environmental conditions of a site sometimes derail projects. So we spent our own money and our own resources to assist the city in determining what is the true environmental condition of the property. And we have those things. So time progressed. We gave the offer in November, and as I do every year, at the end of the year, I assess our business, our pipeline, our projects, and we make a plan as we go forward. And I sat here right around the time of this offer. Mr. Mayor, you invited me to the charrette process. I came, I listened, I heard the consultants that the city hired. There was some talk about, different parcels, different uses, different densities, different heights, different things of that nature. And I said, okay, look, seems like there's a little bit of momentum as far as these planners and these consultants that the city hired So I felt like that, that could be some positive movement. Councilman Roth, you called me up that day to the podium, unbeknownst to me, right? And you asked, Mr. Milo, what are your thoughts on what you just heard? And I think I shared with you that day publicly here, saying it's good to see that there's some planning in place, that the city's thinking through this, because as I mentioned then, and as I've mentioned numerous times, there's nothing more challenging for the business community than unknowns and open variables. And so I saw that as a step kind of in the right direction, as to they're starting to create some framework around, some type of vision in there. And so, but in reassessing some of the dialogue that happened subsequent to that charrette, I listened to some of the council meetings and stuff, and doing a comparison and contrast to some of our other deals, I came to a little bit of a tough realization and saying, is this really the right place for us to invest our time, to continue to invest our time, to invest, several $100 million of investment, to take a risk in being the first company to develop this type of product in the city, and weigh that against all of the other opportunities that we have been presented, and have the good fortune to be working on since July of 2021 that we responded to this RFP. And just for one quick example of that, just today, this morning, and I mentioned this to the manager, it's public record. You guys can go online and see it. Item 11A12, Miami-Dade County, today. We responded to an RFP in June or July of 2024. It was a solicitation proffered by Jackson Memorial Hospital. Jackson Memorial Hospital, the largest public hospital, obviously, in Miami-Dade County, or the public hospital in Miami-Dade County. They have the same challenges that the school board's having, the military, the cities are having. They're having a challenging time housing their essential personnel, law enforcement personnel, firefighters, teachers, nurses. So they put out a solicitation. We responded to the solicitation. We were the selected developer. We negotiated an agreement with staff. We got the agreement approved by the Jackson Health Trust Board. We finalized legal documents, signed leases, and got it approved by the Miami-Dade County Commission this morning. 6-7 months' time. 800 units of development, hotel component, commercial component, zoning in place, RTZ zoning in place. So again, when I get to that position of I have to, as a business person, compare and contrast to other opportunities that we have, right? We have we have to make decisions of where we want to invest our capital, right? And it's very difficult to envision, after 40 some odd months, trying to just structure a deal, what the next phase of this deal would look like. What's the zoning going to take? Because this property is not zoned. This has to be rezoned to even address, this type of redevelopment. What's the site plan process going to look like? What's the building department process and permitting going to look like? So as I took the time over the holidays and over the new year to really, again, sit and think about this, I have some real reservations about proceeding with this development. And it's not for, I know you guys know, it's certainly not for lack of trying. It's certainly not for lack of trying to be pliable and try to adhere to all of the different requests from the council. But I just don't see a very short time frame to take this project from where we are today to something that is successful. So I would, again, I've said this, you know, in front of the council before, we've never failed in any project. We've never walked away from any project. We've never had a project that's over budget. We've never had a project that's behind. And we rarely have to part from a project, right? So it's not easy after investing, you know, 3.5 years and a lot of money in a process to say, you know what, maybe this is just not, maybe this just doesn't make business sense for us to do. But we're kind of at that point. We're at that point, and again, it's just a reflection of how everything has evolved. You know, I hung on probably a little longer than we probably should have. You know, I know there was some new council members coming on board. There was a new manager, and said maybe that is going to help us, you know, kind of get the ball over the goal line. But, you know, here we are we're not even talking about an actual item, right? We're actually having another discussion. That's what we're doing today, right? There's not even an action item today. We're just having another discussion about City Place Homestead. So I just sit back and wonder, like, how many more discussions are we going to have about City Place Homestead? So, again, I'm sure it's not the message that you guys wanted to hear. It's certainly not the message that I initially wanted to deliver, but it's kind of the place where we're at today based upon how this transaction has evolved, how much time has elapsed, and, you know, and the other opportunities that we have as a company to pursue. So, I mean, I thank you guys for your time. I thank you for, you know, those discussions. Some were a little bit more amicable than others, but, you know, that's par for the course, you know. I'm a big boy. We do this all around the state. You know, we're the largest player in this space in public-private partnerships. And, you know, I think it's really a lost opportunity for the city because the message, you know, the message is like, hey, if Related couldn't get this done, who's coming behind them to try to get this done, right? And so I'm not sure what else I can do to try to you know, to appease the council or move this along. But again, I'm at a place where I think the exact words I told the manager earlier was like, Mr. Manager, I just don't have a warm and fuzzy. You know, and I rarely go against my gut. The few instances that I have, I've regretted it after. And I just don't have a warm and fuzzy about making, you know, several $100 million of investment in the city of Homestead. So I thank you for your time. I'm gladly will field any questions from the council. I'm here. You guys have my number. I'm willing to help you. If there's other ideas, other thoughts that you guys, you know, want to kick around and stuff, I'm always at you know, one call away to try to help you and guide you to the best of my ability. So I thank you. Thank you for your time. And again, if there's any questions, I would gladly answer any questions the council has.
Thank you, Mr. Milo. And before I open it up to council, I want to say I really appreciate your candor here tonight. I really can't take issue with your characterization of the process, the evolution of the city, of this council, of the market, your perspective. Been very respectful and I think you know, forthright and accurate. So with that, well, let me ask the attorneys, and then if you don't mind. So this was advertised, and the current proposal before us was a result of council's designation of the Related Urban Development Group as the successful proposer. Procedurally, what would your recommendation be if it were the council's decision tonight to part company? How would we frame that?
Well, if this,
I'm asking the attorney. Okay.
At this point, I would close the process. I would direct staff to write a letter informing them that we've decided, based on the solicitation that was issued, not to proceed. And then whatever further direction you want to take going forward with the site would be a supplemental discussion.
Okay. Mr. Milo, anything to add to that?
No, I like I said, I have no problem. I wanted to, I didn't want to do this in an informal way. I didn't want to send you a letter, you know, kind of saying, hey, council, thank you for your time, and we're withdrawing our proposal. I didn't want to do that like that. I think after the time that we've all spent together trying to make this happen, the right thing to do was for me to come here and put it on the record, and we can have this dialogue. But I have no issues with issuing, after that, just, issuing a letter to your council saying, hey, we withdraw our proposal.
Very, very good. Appreciate that. So, and again, I apologize, but let me go ahead, and it might help streamline and clarify the conversations. So, if we do that and go forward, I would like to see us go ahead and give direction to staff. Well, let me back up. Because Flanagan's was brought in under the main proposal, we are not free to continue under the current advertisement with just Flanagan's. It has to be re-advertised, as I understand it, under what we've called the Section 162 notice, which is a 30-day response time limit, if we choose to do so, limited to that more or less 2.2 acre parcel down in the southeast corner of City Hall site. That, I guess it would be threefold. That, well, we authorize the manager to execute whatever's necessary to terminate this advertisement and negotiations. I think two, and the manager and I have spoken about this, Related has expended funds to get deeper environmental assessment and recommendations. I think it's fair that the city reimburse them for that. Certainly it's to our benefit. We have the reports. I think it's appropriate to reimburse. Three, to immediately re-advertise, if the will of the council to, and indications to me at least are, through Flanagan's counsel, that at this point they are willing to go forward without knowing what the future holds for the rest of that parcel, and that we begin to do whatever entitlements need to be done to allow a potential Flanagan or Flanagan's type development. And I think we really need to sit down and, in light of the charrette, have that really hard and detailed conversation about what our vision may be for the balance of that site before it's re-advertised or put back out on the street. You know, as I recall, and I think it was your words, Councilwoman, and there was no dissent from that. Let's let the market tell us what the market likes. We're light years away from what the market was 3.5 years ago, well, close to 4 years ago, when folks started putting pencil to paper. And in light of the maturity of the city and the maturation and the cohesiveness of this council, I personally think it would be beneficial that we not rush to judgment on the balance of that parcel, that we sit down and have some conversations. And we now have Business Flair, Mr. Crowder, and other professionals, a new development services director, that certainly can give us market insight and development advice as to where this may go. So with that, I will open the floor to questions and comments. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I don't know if you can tell by the look on my face, I'm a little bit disappointed in what's happening here tonight. I want to thank you, Mr. Milo, for coming down and telling us what you had to tell us tonight. But you gave a lot of your time, a lot of effort, and you gave me a pretty good education too on what types of developments that we should be looking at in the future. I think we have truly missed a huge opportunity here. There are many residents, I get stopped in the grocery store, I get stopped at the gas stands. When is City Place coming? It was all related to us doing something at that property that was definitely needed long-term. Again, I'm pretty disappointed sitting here tonight. With that, I think, again, we have to take a strong, hard look at that property because that is going to be the catalyst of the redevelopment of the city of Homestead. That's our prime corner in Homestead, and it's been sitting there in a very bad state for 9 years, 10 years. I think we need to have another workshop before we move forward. I think we have to give the staff some strict directions on where we go. Tonight, a little bit disappointed again in the way this proposal was. Staff seeks direction, and I'm not blaming that on the new staff, but you guys are the professionals and you're paid to do a job, and we ask you for your recommendations when we move forward on proposals like this. We spent a lot of money with a rebel group and others while we were trying to move this thing forward. 44 months later, here we are tonight. I'm going to say I'm sorry, Mr. Milo, and I hope we're able to do something in the future. But thank you for everything you've done for us. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I kind of saw this coming after the conversations post the Charette presentation. So I think at this point, what I'm curious to know is if we do re-advertise for the site, would we be advertising it for sale or for lease? Or, what's the idea behind the advertisement? And then if it is similar to what we're doing now, which would be considering a sale, is the real challenge that we are facing based on the stories? Is it the 8 stories? If that was brought down to 3 or 4 stories per our vision conversations, would we not be having this conversation this way? Would we be more accepting of the transaction? I don't see you going down to 4 stories without somehow moving parking around, reducing parking. And so if that's the issue on getting the stories down, are we able to incorporate the parking at Harris Field as shared parking for this project so that we can meet the requirements for parking, have these max stories that we're looking for, and continue with this contractor? So just some ideas, if that's where the real challenge is, and if it's not the stories, the 8 stories, then what is going to keep us from repeating this cycle? Like, I'm not sure what the challenge is, if it's something other than that. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So just, point well taken. I'm not sure I know the answer to that either because we haven't had that type of feedback from your staff, right? So your staff has not provided me feedback to saying, hey, listen, we as the professional staff would like to see a lower building, kind of because I've had feedback from my council. Do you think you might want to still do this in a way that might be a shorter building? We took it upon ourselves to lower the density as part of that final offer. And, just to give you an example, and you're in the mortgage and real estate business, so you'll understand this piece of it. Even though we reduced our density, we increased our price. Now, part of this is a fee simple transaction was an appraisal that was done based on our development plan. That appraisal moved very little. It moved like less than $100,000 from the previous appraisal. So again, from a business perspective, if originally they were saying, hey, it's 17 million and change for a 600 unit development with the commercial side of the development didn't change much. It's fairly similar, but we added the VA clinic. How is that, if I reduce 100 and some odd units, still going to be at a number that is about the same? So there's also that financial discrepancy, but I mean, I don't know that answer because we were not provided that type of feedback from your staff.
Thank you. Yeah, Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple comments, in line with what Vice Mayor mentioned. I feel, for me at least, that the most frustrating times were when we're discussing how to handle the financial options. And before we have any more workshops or any more anything, I think we really need to look at what we want in that aspect. Because as far as everything else, we've all taken countless field trips and done a lot of homework, and a lot of that was with your time. So I appreciate you helping us try to envision and see, what we want for this site. As far as I'm concerned, I do think that a mixed income, mixed use piece is what would help the downtown area, as well as the new commercial spots in that area thrive. But yeah, disappointed that this could possibly be the end, but thank you also for a lot of enlightening meetings, and just to staff to please, help us understand a little more what the different financial options are and what you suggest is best for the city. Thanks again.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Roth, you ready?
I could have waited, but a little surprised, but not shocked by what you said. My vision of that property is more of a resident-friendly type property than it is set up as it is today. As we've had many discussions, and I have a lot of respect for you and the way you present and your ability to be flexible with ideas and thoughts. I just think that the future of that property is unknown at this point, but I think it's exciting to know that we might have a chance to revisit and put into place ideas that we think would benefit the residents, not so much the people that actually live in the facility. I see today that it's changed again. There's no central park. There's no place for gathering. The restaurants have been cut down more. The retail space has been cut down more. There's no elevated or rooftop entertainment there as well. So my vision when we first started this whole process was to bring an amenity to the city that was beneficial to the community and the residents that live in the community. And based on what I see, today, it's not that. And I think we need an exciting development on that corner if we're going to sell it or lease it or whatever we end up doing with it. I just appreciate your time, your effort. I know we didn't see eye to eye on everything, but I think we walk away here knowing each other, and we know that if there's other opportunities that we could be successful in making those things happen. So I appreciate you, and thank you very much.
No problem. If I can, but I'm not sure, what you're actually looking at. If you're looking at the 2D, a little site plan, but we never changed the rooftop amenity area on the residential building. We still have the park area and stuff. So it's very simple. What we actually did was just lower some of the density in that part. So, and look, from a redevelopment standpoint, and again, you guys asked me to work with Flanagan's. We did that. Now, if you want, if you're talking about a catalyst type of development, a standalone, Flanagan's restaurant is not going to be a catalyst per se. It's going to be a well-positioned food establishment on US 1, right? But if you're talking about something that is going to be a catalyst and is going to be something that's going to ignite that redevelopment, and I think you guys got to, take a step back and think about that. But you also have to understand that the valuation of property, and this is something that, you know, unfortunately, I guess never was understood on the staff side either, is like, you know, if you're gonna go fee simple, if you're gonna do a fee simple transaction, then, and you're trying to get a valuation, well, you can't get the valuation based upon my development plan only, right? Because you tried that, and when you had a valuation at the higher density, when the development plan changed, the valuation was very similar. Now, if we go back to the original proposal, and you look at and you do some of the research a little bit on how these public-private partnership deals happen, they are like my original proposal. They are long-term land leases. They are revenue-sharing deals, just like the one I mentioned earlier that got approved by Miami-Dade County. It is a long-term revenue share deal, and the resources that are generated from those deals are exponentially much larger than a fee simple transaction. So that by itself is something that this council needs to sort out and think through, separate from 8 stories, 4 stories, 600 units, 400 units, Flanagan's, bar, no bar, you know, like, leaving that aside.
Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I just wanted to, to mirror my colleagues, very disappointed at today's conclusion of this activity. But as we move forward, on behalf of our veteran community, I just wanted to say thank you. That was a very innovative approach to potentially have housing for our military uniformed people in our community. Although, you know, they get a location allowance and a basic allowance for quarters, what have you. The cost of living in Miami and in Homestead it far exceeds that. That was a very innovative approach. And I very much appreciate you embracing the notion of the VA clinic. And I appreciate it. Remember the time in my office, I mentioned it to you, and it was like, we can do that. So thank you very much for that. I wish you all the best with Jackson. I know that's going to be just a stupendous project out there with them, and I wish you the best.
It's actually directly across from VA Hospital. That's the site right there.
There you go.
Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yeah, just quickly, Mr. Milo, if there's an opportunity in the future with some of the development we're doing in Homestead, I would hope you would remain open and come back and help us move forward in the long run.
Yeah, I never say never. You know, as a businessman, we're always gonna, you know, be open-minded there. Again, sometimes it doesn't work out, you know. But again, thank you guys for your time and that, and I wish you the best of luck as you move forward on the site.
Thank you. And, you know, I think in that regard, Vice Mayor, I think we're going to see some of these partnerships between housing providers and the school board with easing the housing crunch and affordability issue with all levels of school employees here in Homestead. So I'm sure we'll, you know, just as one potential component there, not to mention other projects here.
But we're the first development company that has a development agreement with the school board. Right. So that kind of goes to show you the path, right?
You invented the wheel.
Right, we got the school board, we got an agreement signed with them, we have the health trust, we got an agreement signed with them, we have the county, you know, so unfortunately we couldn't get an agreement signed with the city of Homestead, but so.
We're special.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you know, as we meet and talk through what we would like to see there, that many elements of what have been proposed and proposed from day one will be in that mix. But I think you came up with the right phrase, Councilman, is more a destination rather than kind of a residential island. And look, I think the conversation will be had of long-term lease versus fee simple, and I think that decision will be made based upon the use of that property or even the predominant use. I think the analysis of that will be different, whether the number of units are in the majority or the commercial, retail, and entertainment portion is in the majority. So it's not something that we can sit here right now and say, let's go back to the lease, or we're married to fee simple. it's really, I feel, dependent upon the product. So, yes, Councilman, you're done.
Just for a point of clarity, you did mention something about helping reimburse for some fees. I'm all for that. I mean, you went with this ride for us. This cost us money. This cost you money. Can we come up with some kind of an arrangement or agreement, or at least an estimate of what it would be a rightful reimbursement for something like this?
Is that to me, Mr. Councilman?
Whomever.
So we already actually broached this item, and with I think Mr. Milo already spoke about the cost of the Phase 2 environmental assessment that was done by you. I think if by last week and you hadn't a clear idea, you're going to look into your files and your record. So perhaps an appropriate way to do it is to receive his original approved work order that he did directly with his vendor, and we'll see what the cost is.
Right, we can address it at the CAL if we need.
Absolutely.
That's only a couple of weeks away.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess we'll come back to a motion to, whatever's necessary to ratify the closing out of the negotiation. As soon as possible, re-advertisement, the 163 notice for, generally speaking, the library parcel for that component. I'll only go back and include in that, reimbursement as the concept of reimbursement, for lack of a better expression, the library parcel, and expediting or beginning the groundwork to replat or whatever's necessary for the potential site for the VA hospital on that westerly parcel, as well as the Flanagan's parcel. And then if we can, because I know we're due to have another sit down with the charrette regarding the charrette based upon our conversations in this room a few weeks ago. I don't know that we want to have that dual conversation, but they run very, they're very, very parallel, and to get some insight and some advice as to where we are at that, what was proposed may have been appropriate, and I hate to beat this dead horse. The RTZ and Live Local have been dumped in our laps since we started these negotiations, and it really sort of handcuffs our creativity. That while we may view some height and density as appropriate in one place, we are constrained that it puts us at risk for that height and density in other locations that we would never envision or approve, but are, as a matter of right, generally speaking, under the RTZ preemption and the Live Local. So, we have a motion to that effect? Moved by Council? No. Yeah. Got it, Mr. Pearl?
Yeah, I got it, and we'll go back and check the tape again.
Yes.
And again, like I said, I'll send a letter to your attorney. I just didn't want to do that without having the opportunity to address the council.
All right, so Davis was going to move it. Roth is going to second it. Let's open this for public comment very quickly. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this matter? Okay, I'll close the public hearing then and ask for a roll call vote from the clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Milo.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you. So let's move on to tab 2, which is the item that we just carried forward from the local planning agency agenda. It's the first reading. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 2 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map designation as requested by FVPP LLC of an approximately 0.75 acre parcel of land from medium residential use to light commercial use for property located at 1351 North Chrome Avenue as identified Miami-Dade County Folio Number 10-7907-022-0130, and legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can we waive the staff report? We're all familiar with this site. We've been briefed. I want to add that this was one of those that came over our solicitation of property owners that did not have consistent uses with, or zoning with the comp plan, and this cleans that up. So, who moved it? Councilwoman Bailey moves, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Have a public hearing, public comment, close the public comments, and have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Davis? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Let's move on to tab 3, car number 4505. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 3 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budget for the Workers' Compensation Fund for the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025, by increasing the total budgeted revenues and expenditures by $1,250,000, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date.
Thank you, sir. And I know there are folks who watch this, and this is a 7-figure item, so let's have an abbreviated staff report as to the background here, Mr. Manager.
So, Mayor and Council, this item is a companion item to tab 8, car item 4503. The item is seeking authorization to settle a 2001 workers' comp claim for the amount of $1.35 million. The city's insurer has agreed to indemnify up to $1.25 million of the settlement amount. Since the workers' compensation funding in the budget was adopted at $925,000, without anticipating this large settlement, staff is seeking council approval to amend the workers' comp fund to appropriate the funds to pay for the settlement, and also, in addition to that, to account for the anticipated $1.25 million insurance recovery as a funding source. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions or comments from council? All right, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Vice Mayor Fletcher, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Any public comment? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 3.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Did you miss Roth?
Councilman Roth? Yes. Thank you.
And since we're talking police matters, let me digress a minute and welcome Chief Knapp to his first council meeting. It's not always this easy. Or maybe it will be. Maybe it will be. All right, moving on to tab 4. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 4 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the South Florida Police Benevolent Association, Police Lieutenants, and the City of Homestead, in effect from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2026, authorizing the city manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city, authorizing the city manager to take all actions necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. We waive the staff report. All right, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Vice Mayor Fletcher, seconded by Councilman Davis. Any further questions or comments? We'll open the floor for public comment. And we'll close the public hearing and a roll call vote on tab 4.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 5, Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 5 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the South Florida Police Benevolent Association, police officers, detectives, sergeants, and corrections officers, and the City of Homestead in effect from October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2026, authorizing the city manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city, authorizing the city manager to take all actions necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, and providing for an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report on this item? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Any questions or comments? Any public comment? I'll open the public hearing. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and before we vote, thank you to staff and our attorneys who were able to get these last two items done, and to the men and women of the bargaining units who came to the table and agreed in good faith and, helped us get this done for everyone's benefit. So, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Ross? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And our next item is car number 4470, tab 7. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 7 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, enacting revised comprehensive council meeting and agenda procedures, superseding resolutions on the same subject, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right. Let's have a staff report on this one. The fast staff report.
Mayor and Council, this item is simply to push back the deadlines for submission of agenda items by 1 week. So it's going to have a 2 weeks timeline. So instead of getting your packages on a Friday before a meeting, you're going to get it a week early.
That's tremendous. It really gives us time to work with staff and massage these things at the last minute. So do we have a motion to approve? All right. So moved by Bailey, seconded by Davis. There are no further questions or comments from council. I'll open the public hearing. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 8, which is the companion item to 3.
Right.
Mr. Pearl?
Tab 8 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the settlements of all claims made by Sean Sinclair, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
We have a motion. Moved by Vice Mayor. We have a second by Councilman Cannibal. We open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And moving on to new council member business. Agenda item 10, tab number 11. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab number 11 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, directing the city manager to identify locations and pursue funding for the establishment of a police department substation on the east side of the city, providing for implementation, providing for transmittal, and providing for an effective date.
Very good. Thank you. Staff report, Mr. Manager.
So thank you, Councilman Tom Davis, for bringing this to the attention of the council in a much more formal way. Just for clarity purposes, this item is already captured in the legislative priorities that this council has already approved. So we're going to seek for appropriation from the state and also from the feds. What we're trying to do here is to expand the scope of this recommendation. We will immediately begin the two options that we anticipate to pursue. One is a short-term option, which is to seek for existing or proposed developments so that we can lease space from there to create a new substation on the east side of the city. Once we identify locations, we're going to come back to this council for approval, because who else knows best where the location should be? We should be the representatives of the people, the elected officials. The long-term option is to seek for a funding for a much more permanent facility. In order to sweeten the pie and see whether we can be successful in seeking grants and appropriations, we are going to redesignate this as a police substation / emergency operations center. That will make it much more palatable for the federal government to give you money under the URC program. So this will be a much more Cat 5 type facility that will survive any kind of inclement weather. So in terms of options, short-term option and long-term option, the legislative priorities already capture the long-term option, which is seeking money for a substation/emergency operations center. For funding sources, we anticipate that further budget will capture the money for short-term, which is lease of space, the will of the council, to moving into an existing facility. Some of the developers that are on the east side of the city will be approached to see if they will allow us for them to give us land, or we may have to utilize city-owned land, depending on the final location council will be looking for. But we will hope to come back to council with proposals as soon as we identify multiple locations and have council give us direction. What is their preference? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have, and I know it's very early in the game, but long-term for our standalone facility and the kind of thinking that's been exhibited here tonight to make it an emergency operations center that springboards us into the world of federal money is just the kind of thinking that was sorely needed for many, many years. But having said that, any thoughts on what the acreage footprint needs to be? What would be the minimum? Or is it just way too early to ask that question?
I think it's too early because we want to involve the chief of police, who just started, so that he'll be part of the technical team that is going to evaluate locations, and also the square footage, the layout, as well as the kind of conveniences that we need, and of course the bells and whistles of law enforcement. We've already started conversation with the emergency manager for Miami-Dade County, Pete Gomez, because we believe that Homestead ought to be the ground zero for emergency management in the entire South Florida, which is missing. And they've challenged the county that this is something the county ought to have funded before now. The current county-wide emergency center is located in Doral, and that's almost an hour drive from here. In terms of inclement weather, that could double to 2 or 3 hours drive. So we feel very strongly that if we complement the need for a police substation with an emergency operations center, that would be a big sell.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Councilman Davis.
Sir, thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colleagues, the intent of this resolution is to really get the cart on the road. We kind of talked about it for a while. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces to this as a decision comes. We're going to have a lot of work as a council to do. And the intent is to see the needs of the police, to see the needs of the city, then we can jump on board and start making some decisions to push this through. We all know what needs to get done, and sometimes in the hectic nature of things, there's always that near rock that we need to move. Well, this is the far rock that we can't forget to get moving on. And I would very much appreciate your help. I mean, I think that, again, this is the easy part. When the city manager and the police chief come with all the requirements and square footage and acreage, okay, we got a whole lot of work to do at that point. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you for bringing this forward, Councilman Davis. Would you like to make the motion?
I do. I make that motion.
All right, we have a motion, a second, and a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say thank you for bringing the item up again. Since 2020, I have respectfully requested from our police department and from prior administration to support a substation on the east side. Developers have heard me ad nauseum ask for them to include for consideration in the future for a substation. And so, especially as close as it's going to hopefully be to District 5, Malibu Bay, and Waterstone, and as well Oasis, exactly, that I would hope that this item could be referenced as a co-sponsored resolution, if you don't mind, for our districts as a whole.
I would gladly encourage your co-sponsorship, and thank you for it, and yours as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so if there wasn't a second, I do second it.
Okay. No, there was. Councilman, did you need to weigh in?
Just real quick. So just so I understand, we have an EOC in the building here, right? We have a command center up there, right?
So with all due respect, what we have is an EOC space. not really an EOC, in the full meaning of EOC.
Okay.
An EOC is usually staffed and usually installed with all the high-tech paraphernalia that will allow you to coordinate with other EOCs. Ours is a much more passive EOC than an active EOC. It's usually set up at the advent of inclement weather. It's not fully functional on a daily basis as an EOC.
Right, so that's I'm just trying to make a distinction between the two. So this particular space would be like a multi-jurisdictional type thing where you can communicate with Miami-Dade County, the state, different agencies, military, whomever that has an active role in inclement weather or catastrophic events that happened in our area. So ours is just for the city itself, or will we not even use that space anymore?
Well, if we're able to get a brand new EOC, obviously we'll transition into the new space. Traditionally and historically, an EOC is a multi-agency hub. So even the one that we have that is passive, when we activate it during an inclement weather, there are also representatives of Florida City, nearby cities, and FPL that also participate. But if you go to a traditionally equipped EOC, it's a much more activated higher level that is actively connected to Miami-Dade County EOC, FEMA, and other agencies. And you receive what they call a two-way communication on a continuous basis. Even the elected officials are expected to come there and participate in the EOC operations. So with all due respect to what we have, I think we can elevate it higher. I've told everybody that this ought to have been ground zero for everybody. The county should have located the EOC for the county in Homestead based on the experience of residents here. Putting it somewhere else and having Homestead folks travel all the way to Doral, because all the cities have a seat at the county EOC, in addition to activating your local level EOC as well. So we're looking forward to having something that is more robust, more resistant to inclement weather, and that's something that is going to be resilient.
Got it. So in just thinking, looking at an aerial picture of my experiences out east, the hospital has some vacant land out there as well, which actually sits on a traffic light already too. So that might be a partnership that we can bring into the city, that the hospital would serve as maybe a location for that. It's right out by the Waterstone community, directly across the street from the Oasis community. Keys Gate's right down the street. And I noticed that District 3 is not on this particular as a city impact, but I think it impacts the entire city when it comes to setting up a substation on the east side of the city. So I think that would be a location to look at. I mean, obviously you guys will plan everything. It's going to need generation. It's going to need, backup services. Is going to be, like you said, a Cat 5 building as well. So that stuff will come in the future. But I think it's a great idea that we need it out there. And as a fan of the police department, and I don't know if the chief knows that I listen to the radio all the time. I'm always listening. The majority of our calls, or a good percentage of our calls, are shopliftings out in the malls out there, and domestic calls as well. So I think if we can get to those calls faster, get to people sooner, I think we can help a lot more. And those of you that you may not listen to the radio, but it's amazing to me how many 27s in progress our guys get to and catch the shoplifters. It's amazing to me. Just last week, I think it was, from the Publix, there was a 27. They ended up catching the guy across the street by the Sedanos. So these guys work hard, and I think we need to give them more tools to do a more efficient job for all the residents in the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yeah, just to offer up, I know, we've been courting the county for a multi-use facility out near the Speedway. Maybe this is another little niche in the sheet to get the county to buy in, and you can build it within that facility, harden it. You have a standalone facility right near the racetrack for operations for the Speedway as well. Just something to think about. I think it's an easier way for us to get state and federal funding if it's all tied to one big use facility. Thank you.
Very good. Does that conclude the comments? I believe we have a motion and a second. And let me open public comment, public hearing very quickly. Close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 11.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to our next forward-thinking item, tab 12. Mr. Pearl.
Tab 12 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, urging Congressman Carlos Jimenez to pursue funding for the construction of a Veterans Affairs Hospital in the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for implementation, providing for transmittal, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, Councilman Davis.
I defer to Councilman Davis.
Thank you. Colleagues, once again, I come to you for your support on a very important issue. As you've heard me preach before, the gospel of improving the VA here in the South Dade area, we've made very significant roads toward that with the support of the city manager and the mayor, Carlos Jimenez. We keep moving forward to get this VA facility built in Homestead. There is suffering in the veteran community in South Dade and in Monroe County, and we need to do something about it. So you came to the rescue of veterans a couple weeks ago with the resolution for a TRICARE advisor, which is completely missing from the VA existing clinic. Now, this is a reminder to Congressman Jimenez, who has been our champion. He's a great guy with this topic, but we really mean it, and we really need it, and we don't want it to get overcome by events that are happening in Washington and the speed of things that are going on with the new administration. Please listen to us. Please keep this on your front burner. Now is the time to act. And that's what we're hoping to do. And as I say, he's a great American hero. We're trying to remind him we're not letting this go. We're not letting it go.
Thank you. So let's have a motion and a second, and then any conversation we need. Moved by Councilman Davis, second by Councilwoman Avila. Questions, comments, council? I mean, I think we've, committed. We've already offered a portion of the old City Hall site. And needs to happen, and we have a great champion in Washington, D.C., as Councilman Davis pointed out. So we have a motion and a second. Anything? No.
Yeah.
Let's have public comment. We'll close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, any further business from you tonight?
Yes, sir. So, Ms. Mayor, Council, it's my privilege and honor to introduce you formally and in person the following members of the city's executive management. Chief Mario Knapp, who started on his January 1st. Today is his 22nd day he's been on the job. Everyone knows him, I've met him, and he's going around on what I consider a very important role, which is community engagement, which commenced this morning with what I thought was going to be donuts with a cup, but he changed it to coffee with a cup. Yeah. Okay.
Pastelitos. You didn't think I could say that word, did you?
And also, my honor to introduce you to Mr. Derek Cook, who is the Director of Development Services for the City of Homestead. Derek, we've met him.
Again, welcome.
And also, Mr. Juan Gomez is also one of our new members of staff. He started yesterday, right, as a communications and marketing officer in the office of the PRO. Juan is well known in the media. He's going to help us in terms of content creation and direct engagement with TV and radio. So I hope to feature most of you going forward in traditional radio and TV instead of just on Instagram. So you guys will be having sessions with the media in terms of expressing your philosophy of good governance. Also, Ms. Babette Friedman is our new Human Resources Director. I kind of take pride that she is what I consider a homecoming staff. She was born in Homestead, went to school in Homestead, and is back to work in Homestead. Thank you for coming back home, Babette. Also, Mr. Jose Perez is the code director for the city. I think we've met him. He started also last week on the 13th. And finally, Ms. Ashley Francois is a staff in my office. She's going to work with the grants office in terms of grants facilitation and preparation and coordination. Just a little housekeeping. We know that the rodeo is coming this weekend. We've worked with them and also with the county to safe up all the right-of-way and street and pavements and sidewalks leading to the Harris Park, as well as the old City Hall site where there will be parking, off-site parking. We just got notified today by FPL that they are doing siren maintenance today and tomorrow, as well as on the 10th of February and on the 14th of February. So you might occasionally hear sirens going off, but it's just a test. Let's not all panic. The legislative session starts March 4th, and all the legislative priorities have been transmitted to our lobbies. And also, we've gone ahead to meet with some of the state representatives to socialize and outreach to them some of our legislative priorities as stipulated and approved by this council. And the executive management team that is now in place is fully functional, with the exception of one remaining director position that should be filled in the next week or two. So, we are going to start with an executive management team retreat on the 31st of this month at Building C of Homestead Miami-Dade College, which is simply for team building, bonding, and also philosophizing on what are their mission and what the pathway for, kind of accomplishing council's directions and timeliness. Again, I've asked Chief Mario Knapp to start a robust community engagement. Started off today. Next event is going to be hosted by District 5 at Malibu Bay and also at Waterstone, which is a meet and greet with the chief. The Finance and Budget Department has noticed all city employees and elected officials that we have two options to get our W-2. One is in traditional way of receiving by mail, or we can get online and register to receive and sign and initiate what they consider a waiver so that those notices can be sent directly to you by mail, or you can actually download it. We are finalizing the placement of the city 250th anniversary logo on the water towers. It started already, and we hope to complete the last lap, which is at Whitcup Tower, by the first week of February. So it's all moving in quick speed. The Black History Month is coming up soon, and we are actively preparing. And Councilwoman Bailey, thank you for the leadership, as always. Mr. Mayor and Council, that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Just to clarify for the public, the overflow parking for the rodeo will be at the Old City Hall and J.D. Red Park. Is that correct?
No, it's just at the Old City Hall site.
Old City Hall site only?
Only.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Attorney. Very good. Thank you. Councilman Davis, you're first on the list tonight.
Well, I would just like to comment, it was a joy to be at the MLK breakfast earlier this week. It was so well done, so well attended, and to see the loving care that went into it, Councilwoman, I would say that it was an awesome morning. Our guest speaker did an awesome job reminding people what's important and how it's important. I have to say that I think it represented our community so well, and thank you for that. That's it.
Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to thank our new chief for making himself available to attend Chat with the Chief events this Friday and next Friday at Malibu Bay and Waterstone, respectively. I wanted to extend an invitation to my fellow council members to join us and to meet and greet the residents of Waterstone and of Malibu Bay. And one item I did want to ask for council is I will be sponsoring, in a nominal way, I will be sponsoring the Classics by the Bay Car Show that Miami-Dade County is doing. It's the 19th annual, coming up on February 23rd. And one of the ways that I support is that, I encourage that we hang the banner across Crum Avenue to promote the event. There are currently no other reservation requests for the dates that they've asked for. So is there any opposition to the banner being hung to promote that event? No? All right. Thank you.
So if I may, I think what the council member is asking for is a waiver of the actual fee for the hanging of that banner, right? Yes. Okay, just for clarification.
So just to be consistent, how does that differ when folks come in and ask for a waiver of fees of park usage? Can we make that distinction?
No, I think what she mentioned earlier is that she is sponsoring it. So if
Very
you
good.
sponsor the event, then council can.
That's the distinction.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. And I wanted to, through the manager's office, if possible, coordinate drive-through with our new code compliance department director. So whatever dates work for the department, I would appreciate some options. And just doing a brief drive around, I think maybe it's time to do another bulk trash sting operation. Those were very successful last time we did them. So if they're not still ongoing, might be a good time to
Hopefully they're
restart it.
ongoing.
Yeah, but I appreciate all the effort of staff, and to our city manager's office, you are extremely responsive with the concerns and the items that I do bring up, not on a daily basis, but definitely on a weekly basis. So thank you for keeping those a priority. I appreciate it.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. Just another very quick, big thank you to staff that helped with the MLK Parade, which was very last minute. PD was awesome as usual, as well as all your hard work with putting on the breakfast. I want to officially welcome all of our new staff. I look forward to getting to know you all, and along with our older fabulous staff, look forward to a very, very great year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cannonball? All right, Councilman Roth.
Thank you. I want to thank Josh and staff for answering questions to the email that I received for the traffic lights and some issues out there. But he brought up a good point. I want to maybe ask this question to the city manager or staff about our infrastructure road plans and traffic light and signalization blueprint for the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. If we can maybe put together a quick little, what do you call those things when they do them on the thing? PowerPoint, or just to give us an idea, and maybe we sit and try to figure out, what roads are going to need to be expanded in the future, and what traffic lights need to be enhanced. I think he brought up one that was on Kingman and North Canal. There's no designated left turn signals heading north on Kingman, so that might be one. And then an update on the traffic light in front of the center gate as well, because we've been waiting for like 5 years for that thing, and it's still not here yet. So last we heard it was coming, but it's just hasn't even broke ground that I've seen. So that's just another one of the cogs in the wheels of progress that area definitely needs that attention. So if you can figure out update us on the 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan for roadworks and public works. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Happy New Year, everyone. And welcome to those, all the new employees. I hope we're able to meet or exceed your expectations, and you have a long, lengthy career here with the City of Homestead. A couple of quick questions, and I kind of skimmed through it earlier, the manager's new bi-monthly update. I just want to ask if it's okay with the rest of council, if we can get a few more details in these bi-monthly reports, especially when it comes to total full-time equivalents with the City of Homestead. I know we have currently, it says 72 here, that might be plus or minus a few that you've recently hired. But I know we approve things for an annual budget And, we look at those for long-term, and we want to see those positions filled. If there's a way we could see what those openings are by department, that would help us out in the future to ensure we're doing what the city needs to do. Also, again, earlier I was a little disappointed in how we've kind of come to fruition over a project for the last 44 months. Well, I'm going to say I'm disappointed in myself again because I haven't been able to adequately convey the importance of the city code and its restructuring and rewriting. I've been asking for it since day one when I got elected in 2018. And I think it's time now for us to put a plan together that we can look at, and it's going to show us that what our stopgaps are, what we need to schedule for, and how we can best drive that to completion over the next few years. I would ask the staff to put together a schedule and maybe provide it to us by the next council meeting if possible. It's very important for us to move the city forward and get us out of some of the archaic language that is in our city code. With that, again, thank you very much. I hope everyone has a great weekend and the rest of the month of January. Enjoy the rodeo this weekend. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Let me add my welcome to all the new staff members, and to borrow a phrase that we heard and paraphrase a phrase we heard Monday, we are ushering in the next golden age of Homestead. I truly believe that over the next 3 to 5 years, so many good things are going to happen with the new management that's kind of got our head above water beyond the neglect of the past, and we're to the point where we can begin to see real things come to fruition. I am disappointed about Old City Hall too, but I think that we have a real unique opportunity there to do something. I mean, I think we've all learned from that experience, a big time learning curve from that experience. So in that regard, my only comment would be if we could circulate some dates for that workshop and that visioning session, if you will, at least the first of many in a very compressed amount of time, so that we can, with good professional advice from all of the different disciplines, encapsulate our vision and our desires, reasonable vision and desires for that site into a solicitation. And I believe that, as we've seen with these other bidding platforms, the next time we put it out there, we're truly going to be casting a nationwide net that was not cast last time. And that's no offense to the proposer that was here tonight. It's just we're going to see, and again, to turn that phrase, based upon what we'd like to see, we're going to see what the real market is willing and able to bring to our community to create a real destination and centerpiece on that premier piece of real estate that we own. So with that, I'll add, let's enjoy the rodeo. What a legacy event, the rodeo dance and party Saturday night. It's what we are. We're a big city, but we still have those small town events. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Yeehaw.